We make contact here, not here.
Water pressure should be between 40 and 80 instead of 100.
I just want to open it to test it, but the whole thing comes up out the floor.
It says GFCI, but it ain't tripping.
We got a broken window sill already on a new construction. No way to change the speed to the ceiling fan because the chains aren't even installed.
This is loose. It's some hinges. This is loose.
I hate these stoppers with a passion. It's too much work. Whenever they're sealing the windows, I never understand why they install the caulking over loose pieces of mortar. See? Now it's open. This is damaged.
Cracks and damages at the sidewalk. Standing water at the sidewalk area. Oh shoot, I almost fell. This tree bubbler looks great. This one needs to be adjusted. I wouldn't even survive off this.
Bugs in the house, but obviously they're coming in because we got gaps at the entryways.
Downspout missing components.
Welcome to another episode of Make Gains. Today we're going to be diving into why new construction is junk.
It's always fun to pull up to a new build inspection for the third time in a row on the same property. That's right, I did a new build inspection, I did a re-inspection, and now I'm having to do another re-inspection.
When you look at these videos, you're not going to be surprised why he's having to do 3 inspections. Some of these things are really insane.
Since everybody seems like a good foundation crack on a new built home, check this one out. Huge hole in the wall. Not what you want to see on a brand new house.
Absolutely not what you want to see in a brand new house. Guys, be sure that if you're buying a new home that you're getting it inspected. You're going to see tons of things today, and all of these things can be major problems for you. Do not skip out on an inspection.
Gotta check this out. In what world is an offset like that in a driveway acceptable or recommended, especially on a new construction home?
Yeah, I have no words for that. I mean, what was somebody smoking whenever they laid that concrete to think that that was okay? They just think nobody's going to notice.
All right, so you hear all the old timers saying how they don't build them like they used to. And I got to tell you, this one missed the mark by a long shot. I'd like to know what their budget was for nails on this project. All right, so this home's going for $1,100,000. So let's take a look at it and see what our money's buying us here. All right, I'll be honest. This thing looks like the framers lost in a game of Tetris. I mean, what do they just stack boards up and just see which one fits best? I've seen a lot of framing in homes, but I've never seen this technique. I'd say upwards of 75% of the wall studs in this home were cut in half, and then another stud put right next to it.
So I did construction for a little while, and I can tell you that I've never seen that. You need to have complete studs going from top to bottom, or you're going to have some trouble. That wall's not going to be sturdy. One of the comments on this one, maybe I could build my own house with absolutely no experience. Someone refused to pay the frame crew, and they came back and cut the studs. That is a plausible explanation. It actually makes more sense than them building it that way.
I feel like this doesn't get spoken about enough, but it's new construction homes. They are trash, bro. These builders consistently keep building them just to be trash. They know what they're doing. They know there's all these faults. They know they're going to be screwing the home buyers, but they get away with it. When inspectors get hired to come through to do the job, they do their job correctly and good. They're like, hey, you can't sell this house until this stuff gets passed. Well, then they get that person, they get rid of them. Now they're like, they've got their own like in-house inspectors that are passing these houses that should never pass off, right? They're selling them to people. Some of these people are first-time home buyers, but regardless, they get into the home and like the homes are flooding. If you have not seen some of these TikToks where like the homes are flooding, just falling apart, and they get on the phone like, hey, this is not under warranty, or this is under warranty, but you know, they don't come out and fix it and stuff like that. It's just crazy to me how it's like nobody's getting in trouble for this.
Yeah, that is completely unethical. If you're hiring an inspector to come in and look and they're finding problems, so you just get rid of them and bring in your own inspector who's not going to have a problem with anything you're doing, that's not shady at all.
So we were wondering why this house didn't sell. I mean, you got a really nice master bathroom in here and walk-in closet, great tile work, right? Nice fixtures, and then there's that outside of the shower, and the door opens out. So I mean, I don't know what's going on here. I don't know what these builders are smoking these days. This is a new build, by the way.
Yeah, they're definitely smoking something for a new build. And then the tile guy comes in, completes his work, doesn't say anything about this. The construction foreman or whoever's leading this project, they have to see this. And then just go, nobody will notice. It'll be fine.
Heading in to do an inspection with one of my least favorite builders. Let's see how this bad boy goes. Every now and then I'll bust out the old trusty laser here. From when the laser's placed there to when the laser's placed right here in the center, there's about an inch of drop where you see that line is. I think it's standard now to strip as many screws as possible in every stair rail that's installed. Check out this vanity with me here. So there's a shim right there. And then they caulk, and then just leave a gap. And then we add some caulk again. There's another shim. There's some holes. It's over 1/4 of an inch of a gap. Very nice. Well, we've got some mortar here. And gap missing there. Got some mortar here. And then none for the rest of the way down.
This is crazy. Do people not care about doing a good job anymore? It almost seems like they don't. And there's nothing more frustrating than going to take out a screw and it's stripped out because somebody was just rushing their job and they didn't even get it tight. It's crazy. Instead of actually doing a good job, they just say, hey, nobody's going to notice. If that inspector didn't find those things, those are the kind of things that'll just drive you nuts forever. Your towel rack or whatever that was, just shaking. One of the comments on this one, my sister bought a house in Star and the builder refused to let the inspector check the roof or the electrical panel. First day, their AC went out. Second day, sewage backed up in the upstairs shower and sinks. That is crazy. Builders won't let you do that because they're not complete or whatever. But that inspector needs to go back and check before you take ownership of the house. Do not let a builder say you can't inspect the work, because if a builder's saying you can't look at it, that's where you need to be looking.
This morning, we've got a great example of give up. This is what give up looks like. The guy who installed the sod laid it completely wrong, and there's rocks all over the place, as you'll notice in this video. So this grass ain't gonna grow. There's no chance it's gonna grow. Weather stripping on the 2 other exterior doors, but for whatever reason, not this one. It's the Friday at 4:30 rule. It's like, hey, I'm done. I'm almost finished. So I'm going to caulk and seal all these baseboards, but I'll get back to this one on Monday. And maybe he will, maybe he won't. Here's a trip hazard right off your front porch. Someone walked away from this. That's what kind of baffles me. Someone walked away from some of these items and they're like, yeah, that's good. I'm good. We're good. Just rocks everywhere.
That's frustrating to look at because none of that stuff was done correctly. Those aren't small things. That grass is just ruined. You need weather stripping in your doors. The caulk along the baseboards, that would drive me bananas. I'd have to do that myself if I was moving into that house.
Almost thought I had a good one today. Started out okay, then it went downhill. Food waste disposer doesn't work. It is plugged in and there is power. Okay, I want to know whose idea this was. Who approved this?
It's crazy.
I don't even understand how I am looking at this right now. Why would you want that? It's right in the way of your face. Okay, let's check the top of the shower. Whoa, they actually sealed it. Oh, never mind. Strap's broken.
Yeah, nobody cares anymore. Those are problems, right? And some of those things might be small, but they can cause you big problems later down the road. We'll see a few more of those as we go through more of these videos.
Construction homes. You see them everywhere. I'm talking about your D.R. Hortons, Lennar Homes, Beezer Homes, Ryan Homes, etc. Guys, these builders are throwing out these cardboard, cookie cutter homes in a weekend with the cheapest materials and the cheapest labor that they can find. You got paper thin drywall that you can literally hear your neighbors sneeze. And don't even get me started on plumbing. I swear that I think plumbing issues are the #1 issues with new construction homes. I'll probably stay away from 99.9% of all new construction homes. I don't even care if they're giving away a 0% interest rate for 100 years.
Yeah, with the problems like you just saw, you got no seal on the top of the bathtub. Just over time, water's going to get in there. It's going to cause mold, going to cause rot. No bueno. And then all these little things, some of those may never cause a problem. They just might annoy you, but some may cause huge problems, like the water leak under the sink. If nobody noticed that, I mean, that could go on for a very long time before anybody ever noticed that, hey, the cabinetry under here, I can push my finger through it because it's rotten, and then it's caused all kinds of issues underneath with your floor joists. It can be very expensive if it's not caught.
These are the 4 worst home builders in America based on thousands of online reviews. And the last one is by far the worst. Number 1, Clayton Homes. Clayton builds modular and manufactured homes, but they've got a 1.8 rating on Consumer Affairs and a 1.4 on the BBB. Customers complain about bad plumbing, poor build quality, and constant delays. And if you call for help, good luck getting a response. Number 2, Dr. Horton. They're the largest home builder in the country and one of the worst. With a 1.4 Trustpilot rating and 1.8 in Consumer Affairs and ongoing lawsuits across multiple states, homeowners constantly report cheap materials, unqualified contractors, and overpriced houses. Number 3, Lennar. Lennar operates in 26 states and has a 1.23 BBB rating, 1.4 on Trustpilot, and 1.1 on Consumer Affairs. Now, biggest complaints: poor build quality, plumbing disasters, horrible customer service, and refusing to honor warranties. Before we get to the worst one on the list, comment if you dealt with any of these builders and share your experience. Number 4, Pulte Homes. Pulte builds expensive homes with cheap materials. They have a 1.6 rating on Pest Consumer and 1.1 on the BBB. Like the others, they dodge warranty claims and face constant lawsuits.
Have you guys had any experience with any of those builders? I know several of those in my area. I'm in South Carolina, and several of those mentioned are here. We have Ryan Homes, Horton, and Lennar, who's on this list. Have you ever bought one of these homes? What issues did you have with it? Comment down below. I'd love to hear from you.
Whoever's designing these Lennar houses needs a heads up that the bathtub and the master for this floor plan is way too close together, because my cabinet is already starting to disintegrate. So I have kids, so they splash water literally everywhere. We've been in this house for 4 years, almost 5, and look at this damage it's already caused. And look at this. You can say whatever you want, but first of all, this should not be this close together, in my opinion. And this cabinet, oh my God.
It doesn't seem like a good idea. And there might have even been some mold in that back corner that did not look good. Who is designing these things and thinking, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's put our cabinets right up against the tub.
I'm not a home inspector, but today I'm in a $400,000 new construction house. Let's take a look and see what we can find. All right, this is a front door. You can see the gap there, gap across the trim, overspray, and another gap on the other side. This in the corner is already starting to crack. All right, in the laundry room, this piece is kind of slanted backwards a little bit. Here's a better view of it. In the bathroom downstairs, this is painted and stuck to the trim. It's not going to go any lower. Maybe I'm wrong, but they could have used a shorter hose right here. That's what you see when you walk into the bathroom. I mean, the kitchen looks fine. It's very white and hospital-like, but I don't see any issues with it. Well, I spoke too soon. Now, this is not needed, but it would have been nice if they would have recessed this into the wall. All right, we got a double bar here with a single bar here. Singles all the way across the closet, and then a double here as well. It just doesn't look great. Kind of hard to see, but that is bent, and it's leaning down a little bit. Got a huge shower, but it's already starting to crack. And I don't think it was sealed. All right, we got some more trim issues here and here. Looks like we got some cracking in the bathroom. We got another one of these upstairs in the bathroom as well. This is going to be on the stairwell going upstairs. Got a few pieces on here that don't seem properly attached. And for $400,000, it'd be nice to get these painted going up into your house from your garage. All right, I feel like this should probably be plugged in somewhere.
Yeah, you'd think that should be plugged in somewhere. To me, the biggest one in this list was the cracks in the shower. Like, that is crazy. If you don't fix that, water's going to seep into there, and then a few years going to go by, and then you have to be tearing up that whole shower to repair it. And that is not what you want to do in an expensive house like that.
You know, when I walk into a brand new home just under $1 million, I expect the bar to be set just a little bit higher than what it is nowadays. You ever turn the handle on the shower to cut the water on and the whole wall moves and the handle feels like it's going to fall off? This is why. They should support or block that valve directly behind and about a foot up to keep the pipes from rattling in the wall when you turn it on. You ain't gonna believe this. They frame this doorway 34 inches wide, but only cut the header to accommodate 32 inches. And on that left-hand side, they took that jack stud out and just replaced it with a piece of OSB. And I know that's the case because your base plate down there at the bottom is cut to accommodate a 34-inch opening.
Yeah, these are just shortcuts. They're doing stuff that doesn't make sense because they don't want to have to redo their work, which I understand that. But when you're spending that much on a house, you've got to tear it down. Not the whole house. You got to tear down that piece and fix it.
All right, 2025 new construction. It's a beautiful home, but at the end of the day, that's what a guy like me is here for. So here's what it's going for right now. Let's see what we got. Looks like we've already got some thermal expansion in action. So there's normal shrinkage cracks, and then there's this. Not the same thing. If you look close enough, right over here, we can see this parge coat start to come off the concrete. That's a foundation crack starting to form. I don't know why they didn't decide to put raised platforms underneath these condensers, but just because something complies with the minimum standard, it doesn't make it a great practice. Not even level, by the way. This home's got 2 dishwashers. Pretty cool. Be a lot cooler if they both worked, though. By the way, there is power to this outlet. Just to confirm. Well, that's certainly not the safest place to put a hanging light fixture, but hey, they told us it's here, so that makes it okay, right? Anderson windows. These are fairly expensive. You can see that this one's not even lined up. If there's one thing that a flexible gas connector needs, it's slack. I mean, is anybody really surprised at this anymore? You know, it would be one thing if it was just every other rafter, every now and then. But when it's almost every single one, that's a problem.
That is a problem. And you're paying so much for that house, $1.6 million. You should not be having to deal with these types of issues. It's just insane. Comments on this one. I'll keep saying it. The barrier for entry for developing, building homes in America is too low. Anyone with money or financing can call themselves a builder. Did my son assist with this after school for credit? Because WTF is going on.
New construction homes are absolutely ridiculous, and I don't know how they keep getting away with this. I was showing some between $2 and $3 million, and the backyards aren't completed. There's literally nothing. It's just dirt. How can you demand such a high premium for something that a buyer is going to have to finish themselves? It doesn't cost that much money to have a built-in barbecue, some grass, and a nice little concrete seating area or something. No one's asking you to build a pool. Most people don't even want a pool these days. But to demand such a high premium for a house that really isn't even turnkey because the buyer's going to have to come out of pocket to finish the backyard, it actually doesn't make any sense. On top of that, these new builds, the backyards are getting smaller and smaller every single year because they're just trying to stack as many homes together as possible.
Yes, so many of these do look unfinished. It is like they want it to look all nice, but the yards are not done properly or not done really at all. It's very surgical feeling. Yeah.
Designing our backyard because it's often not included when buying new construction. The worst part is getting estimates.
The papers, it's like 10K. So the turf also 10K.
So your estimate would be 16,150 cents. Another 5,700.
31,218.
Our first estimate was $70,000.
$70,000. Go back and look at what they were getting for $70,000. That is insane. You could, if you were able to do this yourself, you would save so much money. So much money.
Looks like they're about to put some sod in. Look what they're going to put it on top of. And people wonder why the grass don't grow that well.
Yeah, guys, if you're putting down sod, make sure they're not putting it down on this. They need to be either raking that up or putting down a nice little base layer of dirt that should go on before that sod to make sure that that goes down properly. I would say you need to rake all those rocks up. It is just going to cause problems later on down the road. Now, I think so many new construction builds just throw down the sod because it doesn't grow right, and you'll see that. Comments on this one. Can't even aerate my yard because of the amount of gravel they sodded over. Slap a starting at $650K sign at the front of the development and you're good to go.
Out showing new construction today, and this backyard is massive. But is that a deal breaker?
Yeah, that's exactly what we were talking about a minute ago, right? You've got this beautiful big yard. It looks like they did a good job with the grass on this one. But then there's this 2x2, it's probably 3x3 concrete square as your porch. I mean, really? You can't even put a chair on that thing. Yeah, somebody's going to have to come in and spend money to have a little porch built out with concrete. These are things that they should be putting in a new house. Think about what someone's going to want whenever they move into this place. It's crazy. Comments on this one. For me, yes, concrete is expensive, and that doesn't include everything to have a covered patio. They really went all out on the concrete slab.
Out looking at some new construction, new home being built here in Bridge City. And with every new construction here in Southeast Texas, you can almost guarantee you're going to deal with a couple pest problems kind of right off of the bat, and a third that has a tendency to pop its head up in the wintertime. I'm talking about fire ants to begin with, and then spiders are going to be the next thing that you have an abundance of. Then when you get to the wintertime, you're talking about mice and rats. The reason behind that is with new construction, you've got a piece of property that was maybe a wooded area or a field, clear cut everything, build pads and put a house in the middle. All of these insects and wildlife were already here, and you displaced them from their homes to build your house, and boy, they like the air conditioning too. So I want to show you something. Check this out. As you can see, got some fire ants trailing up the side of the foundation, going in this small mortar joint and trailing back. Guess what? Got us a nest. Ooh, those guys are angry. Then after the fire ants, you're going to deal with spiders. If you look around here, all of this is fresh sod. So this sod was brought in. This was not here to begin with. They take these sod pallets from these sod farms full of spiders and transplant them right next to these homes. So the next thing you're going to deal with is spiders. And of course, with spiders, you're going to end up with wasps and mud daubers that will end up feeding on those spiders. So new construction.
Yeah, we have that stuff at our house, and you got to constantly be treating for it, or you'll find them inside your home.
Have you just moved into your new home and you notice rodents and rats and things around your house and you're wondering why? You might want to check this. So you might want to check this. The workers have installed this drainage, but they put their leftover food all on top of there. They just forget to put dirt on top of it, I'm guessing. What they don't know is I'm going to put that on the report. They're going to remove that dirt, pick up all that food. Yeah, that's right.
I've never thought about that being a problem with rodents, but it does make sense. You got rotting food under there, and rodents are going to burrow their way, and then they're going to be looking for that food. That's interesting.
Looking at brand new construction today. This is a good one. So we've got the dumpster down there, the porta potty. My client has not closed on the home yet. He's supposed to be moving his stuff in next week. We're going to look up in the attic. You can see there's blue tape in the laundry, work in progress. This is why you have to get a new house inspected. One of the many, many reasons. I've already found probably 60 to 70 issues on this home. There's a lot. Check that out. All those white and black blotches, that is full-on mold. Right here on the truss. I mean, that's not just a little bit of mold. That is excessive.
That's not what you want in your brand new house. Mold. I mean, it causes all kinds of health problems. This is not good, and it's something that'll have to be addressed. Again, be sure you get your inspection before you close on your house.
But I didn't know that when I was building a home that I was just gonna have to pay taxes off the land, and then when the home is actually built, then you gotta pay taxes on the actual home and the land, which increased my mortgage by $3,000. I didn't know that. So now my mortgage is increased by $3,000 from what I'm currently paying. You know, plus you still got all these other expenses and stuff like that. I don't knock buying a home. I think the goal should always still buy a home, but you should be prepared to know what's to come.
You should be prepared to know what's to come. They should have a conversation with you about that, but it sounds like they don't always. Comment on this one. High school needs courses on all this. Nothing in education actually prepares you for life. 100% agree. I don't think they talk about finances enough at all.
$3,200 a month to $5,600 a month.
This is the reality of so many new construction homes. So please, if you're planning on buying a new construction or you previously bought one, listen up. Quick little breakdown of what happened. He bought a new construction in Antioch, Illinois. The salesman for Ryan Homes didn't tell him that the current mortgage is without the future property taxes. So for this guy, he saw $3,200 a month for a new construction home. Hell yeah, sign me up. Anyone would take that. But again, they did not tell him that the property taxes will increase over the next few years. If you know anybody who's bought a new construction over the last few years, they'll tell you their property taxes jumped up drastically. His mortgage almost doubled from $3,200 to $5,600 per month.
Yeah, that is a huge jump to not be prepared for. I mean, that could put a major dent in your life, right? Especially if you were already tight and you felt like you're extending yourself too far with the existing payment. Now all of a sudden it's gone up by $2,000. That is a big difference.
A lot of builder lenders want to make your payment look as low as possible. But typically when they go over a payment with you, you'll have your principal, interest, and then your escrow account. Your escrow account includes your insurance and property taxes, and this is what's important. When they give you that number, it's going to look very, very low and very manageable. However, what they're giving you for your taxes is actually unimproved land value, because there was nothing on that piece of property for years, and that's what they've been assessing your property taxes off of. However, they just built a $400,000 home on it. Therefore, the taxes are going to go up eventually. So in order to make you feel like you're getting a good deal, it's going to escrow the amount for just the land. However, when the county goes out there and sees that there's a home there maybe worth $400,000 versus the land value that was $50,000, your taxes are going to increase surmountably. This happens all the time when you're working with a builder lender because they want to give you the best mortgage payment possible, even if it's not the best thing for you.
Yeah, and that is unethical. These folks know this is going up. They need to be talking to their customers about that. But instead, they want to just get them into a home, make them feel like they're getting a good deal, and then you can figure everything else out later, which is not the right way to handle things.
Okay, I'm going to spark a little debate between old homes and new homes. So I believe everyone that's buying these new homes in San Antonio that start with an L are just buying for a premium drywall and a warranty sticker. Meanwhile, the older homes have bigger lots, stronger bones, and actual appreciation potential. But hey, let's keep paying HOA for cookie cutter homes. Why not? So is everyone going new build because the interest rates are better, or because the product is actually better than a pre-home?
We know that the product is not better. I think the only way it is better is if you go with a custom builder who has a reputation for building high quality homes. And in that case, you're going to pay considerably more for the same house.
My house was built in 1958, and I don't think I will ever buy a house that is any newer. Our house is like 1,300 square feet, but this place is a fortress. I will be on one side of the house and my fiance's on another, and I can't hear him talking because the walls are so thick. We have to command hook everything to the wall because it is impossible to get like a push pin in to put decor up because the walls are so thick. Watch. I'm trying as hard as I can. And it just won't go through. There's also something extremely comforting about the fact that this house has been here through the worst of storms of all time. Like, she survived Hurricane Andrew. She's good. Especially as a Florida girly and someone who sells real estate for a living, I just love something about an old Florida concrete block construction home. They're like legit fortresses. And if it's maintained well, there is no better indication of a home holding up for the future than one that has already held up for the past 66 years through the worst storms of all time. Yes, you'll have to update things along the way with an older house, but you can be pretty damn sure that this house is not going anywhere in the long run.
Yeah, that's an interesting take, right? Because a lot of people will say, oh, I only want to buy a new home because everything's new, everything's fresh. But I don't know that they always consider these problems like we've seen in this video. I mean, there are tons of folks talking about the problems they have with their new construction home. Whereas to this point, you buy an older home, they're going to have really strong bones. They were made well with integrity and with pride. And yes, you may have to put in money to update them. And that is going to be part of what goes along with it. No, I don't know that the push pin test is a very good test for trying to figure out the quality of your home. There is something to be said about thicker walls, about higher quality sheetrock, that kind of thing. And you're going to get that with an older home, whereas in newer homes, it is the cheapest material possible. And you'll know that because if you tell them you want specific things for your home, it dramatically increases the price. Comment down below your experience with buying a new home versus an older home with really great bones. Hopefully you've enjoyed today's video. This one's an educational one. And hopefully this will keep you from making some poor decisions when it comes to buying a house. I would say the biggest thing, if you're going to buy a house from one of these cookie cutter manufacturers, the biggest thing is you need to have a really solid inspection done and do not settle on this. There are things that are problems, especially those foundation cracks and the poor job sealing around tubs and tile, that kind of thing. Guys, make them redo it. Don't just allow them to put a bead of caulk around something that should be a permanent fix. Because at the end of the day, it's going to end up costing you a lot of money if you don't resolve these issues before you move in. If you've had experience with this one, I'd love to hear about it. We may use that in a future video. But the warranties on these homes, they are known for having a really difficult time getting builders to fulfill the warranty. I had a friend whose porch was flooding every time it rained, and they did not want to do anything about it. They finally did. It basically took her threatening a lawsuit and getting an attorney in order for them to do the repair because it was going to cost them like $10,000 to fix it. So don't let them get away with that. You're paying so much money for these homes that you deserve to have a high quality home. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching to this point. Please hit that like and subscribe button. And if you know anybody who needs to see this, please share. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.